City academies. They're now the bee's knees with both the Labour and the Tory front benches, if not so popular with either party's backbenches. Yet evidence that they raise educational standards dramatically is still disputed. The original criteria stressed that academies would be in deprived inner city areas, where bog-standard comps, as they were once called, were failing. Now parents in some areas say academies are being planned where that's not the case. Ben Wright has been investigating in Preston.
Carphone Warehouse are going to be running the school across the road.
There's a protest brewing in Preston.
So there's a meeting tonight about what it means to the schools in the area. Okay.
A few weeks ago, Lancashire County Council announced that it wants to close 2 secondary schools and replace them with a new city academy. There's speculation, and no more, that a mobile phone retailer might be the eventual sponsor. Opponents have organised a public meeting, and parents outside this primary school are alarmed.
I don't think business has any place in running education. There's been an embargo on information. We had to find out from the newspaper about this. I've got a real sneaky feeling it's a done deal.
Parents have got great concerns, and as will parents across the primary school.
Academies were meant to replace failing schools in deprived areas. Not here. The 2 schools, Fulwood and Tulketh, are doing well. So I asked the councillor driving the plan why he's pushing for an academy.
2 schools, very successful. Fulwood, full. Tulketh, half empty. The alternatives I've got are letting it wither and die, or bringing forward multi-million-pound investment by way of an academy that will enable the chances for children to be greatly improved. That's the pragmatic approach that we're taking in Lancashire, and I think that's the one that will work.
But with a government target of 400 city academies by 2010, are they now the only option?
It's very hard to stop them because the process is all weighted in favour of them. Either you're offered more money to have an academy, or you don't have to enter these new competitions that the government set up. But what I detect is that a lot of parents are getting quite angry about the fact that if they don't want them, their voice isn't being heard. And the government says it wants to put parents in the driving seat. Well, if parents say they would rather have a community school, it seems very odd to me then that they have to have an academy.
Why is it that the government this time are playing politics with my kids' education? That's effectively what they're doing. They're saying that we will only release this money for schools on condition that you accept sponsors and privatisation of schools.
There will be a consultation here in Preston, but at the evening's meeting in the city's Methodist Central Hall, speakers on the panel and from the floor proved that Councillor Whitaker has a lot of persuading to do.
So there's absolutely tiny difference that's been achieved through the academies, and it's a very, very expensive programme. The thing you have to realise is even if you've got a seemingly benign sponsor, they have absolute powers.
If you have got falling roles, for the time being, doesn't it present you with a fantastic opportunity to deliver quality education? I mean, if people are talking about putting £1,600 per pupil into an academy instead of £1,000, one thing we said in the public meeting in Lancaster was give us the money.
So the campaign to try and stop Preston's first city academy starts here tonight, but it's going to be a really tough fight because city academies are the government's golden ticket for councils wanting to build new schools. But there is a lot of concern here about what an academy is going to mean for the city's parents and pupils.
Ben Wright there doing his impression of David Attenborough, and very effective it was too, Ben. Cyril Taylor, you know more about a city academy than anybody else, so tell me this. If parents make it clear, I'm not saying the ones we saw there are necessarily representative, but if it is clear that in an area parents don't want a city academy, should they still have to have one?
Local authority can stop an academy being imposed on them because they have a right to do that. The only case where a school can be required to become an academy if it's completely failing, like the Riding School in Yorkshire, and they're in special measures, and Ofsted said that says that the school should be closed. Now, I think it's very important to look at the overview about the academy. The 20 academies opened last year that had GCSE cohorts had an average free school meals eligibility of 34% versus a national average of 14%. Those schools, the actual sort of predecessor schools, were failing, low-attaining schools.
Yeah, no, but I'm going to come on to that in a minute, but I want to establish, first of all, if in an area where the school is not regarded by the parents as failing, they may be wrong, they may not have high enough standards, but if the school is not failing so badly, and the area does not feel that deprived, can the parents stop an academy from happening?
I think that the local authority will be wise to listen to what their views are.
Doesn't sound like parent power is too strong, though.
Well, they do elect their councillors, and councillors do care about what the voters think.
On the government set a target of 400 academies by 2010. I can't tell you how many are open at the moment because that's our quiz there. But it's not that many, and we only see some more coming on, 82 more by September, another 50 in 2008. Can it really reach 400 by 2010?
It must reach 400. And let me tell you why I feel so strongly about this. There are 358 schools in this country that get 25% or less 5 ATCs, including Maths and English, or 40% any good grades. 350,000 children in those schools are not getting a decent education. Every year in this country, 75,000 16-year-olds leave school without any qualifications at all, go straight onto welfare rolls, young offenders, you name it.
But in a recent study by Edinburgh University, of the first 14 academies that were set up, the ones started in 2002, they, by 2006, were getting fewer 5-star A-grade GCSEs than they were before. Complete
nonsense. I have the actual numbers here. The 20 academies of GCSE cohorts open in 2006 averaged 42% 5 good grades. The predecessor schools averaged 21%. In 2 or 3 years, those 20 schools doubled the academic performance.
Okay. Not the 15 from Mr. Wrigley, the senior lecturer.
I'd like to look at his. You
better have a word with him. We're only reporting
all
what
the data here, all of the details.
I was frightened. You might have. Is Mr. Brown really a convert to city academies?
Last week he gave a speech at the Mansion House where.
No, we heard all that. Is he really a convert?
I think he is. Yes.
All right. We shall see.
Now, if you miss